as ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
It's the CoreTV News on the hour, and I am Ebulomo Adekunle. Good morning. The relative peace of Kano has been shattered with a bomb and gun attack in the Asian city. At least 15 people have been confirmed dead when gunmen struck at the Federal College of Education. The casualties include the 2 bombers who were part of the attackers. The police confirmed that 30 others were also injured during the attack. This is the second bomb attack on a school in Kano in almost 2 months. Meanwhile, the police authorities have confirmed that the 2 gunmen who were behind the bomb and gun attack in Kano were shot dead. Spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu says in a statement issued in Abuja that the gunmen first detonated IEDs in a lecture hall at the Federal College of Education before opening fire on students. He added that 15 bodies had been recovered from the scene while 34 injured persons are receiving treatment. Police personnel have since sealed the scene of the bomb and gun attack and commenced investigation. President Goodluck Jonathan has commended the prompt action of the police in confronting the perpetrators of Wednesday's bomb and gun attack in Kano. He also commiserated with the residents on the loss of lives recorded when insurgents attacked the Federal College of Education in the city. Speaking through his spokesman, Ruben Abati, the president assured the citizenry of government's readiness to enhance the ability of the security forces to take on terrorists. He urged security personnel to be even more alert and proactive in the future to stop terrorist attacks in Kano and other parts of the country. The police have arrested 89 persons in a village in Kebbi after a mob attacked a police station. The mob action was in response to the rescue of one Adamu Gaya, a Nigerian who was suspected of involvement in a ritual murder. A police team saved the suspect from lynching, and in response, the villagers attacked the police station. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu confirmed the development and revealed that the mob burnt 2 police vehicles and 9 motorcycles. Also smashed were the windscreen of 4 cars parked on the premises. He added that villagers also burnt the official residence of the divisional police officer during the violence that claimed at least 4 lives. Reactions have started to trail the recent seizure and arrest of a private jet and 2 Nigerians and an Israeli in possession of $9.3 million on board the aircraft, against the backdrop of claim by the government that the seized plane was on a legal mission to source for arms. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has called for clarification on the issue. Falana, who also decries the link of the aircraft to the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Ayo Orishajafor, describes the entire development as unfortunate and a shame on Nigeria.
Something just happened 2 days ago in South Africa. $9.3 million was smuggled from Nigeria to South Africa. Again, the plane that was used for that illegal operation is said to be owned by the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Ayo Orishajafor. Efforts have been made, this is very important for all of us. Efforts have been made to play on our collective intelligence by saying that that plane has been leased to another company by Reverend Orishajafor. We have never been told that the pastor had the right under the law to turn his plane to a kabu-kabu and rent it out. But be that as it may, We have not been told who rented the place. The government attempted yesterday, the federal government, very embarrassingly, to say that, oh, the federal government is involved in the deal, that fund was sent to South Africa to buy weapons. Of course, since we are fighting Boko Haram, everything goes. But please, we want to ask them, if a government, a legitimate government, is going to buy ammunition in any part of the world, why in Nigeria? Why must you hire two private people that whose identity we don't know yet, and an Israeli to do that for you, when you have the Ministry of Defense and two ministers in that ministry? Who gave out that contract? But that is not where I'm going. Under the Nigerian Money Laundering Act of 2011, any amount being taken out of Nigeria must be declared at the airport. The sum of $9.3 million was not declared by anybody.
The conviction of 12 Nigerian soldiers for mutiny is not hitting the right chord with some legal practitioners in the country. Two Lagos-based lawyers, Festus Keyamo and Malaki Ugumadu, have called on President Goodluck Jonathan to use his position to review the death sentence passed on the 12 soldiers. Though they conceded that the soldiers, like their colleagues, are aware of the rules of engagement binding their profession, they want the president to implore the military authorities to pardon the soldiers.
Were they justified, the authorities, to arrest them and charge them for whatever they want to charge for mutiny? I think they were justified. The authorities were justified, because under no circumstance, even under civilian circumstances, should you shoot at your commander. You can carry your protest out, you can march on the streets. I will even march with the soldiers if they do that, to draw public attention to their problems. But to carry out arms and shoot at their commander in a bid to kill him, nobody will accept that. Having said that, also, the punishment is not commensurate with the crime. The punishment that has been meted out to these soldiers is extremely unjust, it is harsh, and it's unacceptable. You can't, of course, sentence them to death when, in the first place, nobody died in the process.
Now, the nitty-gritty of the sentence of death by firing squad by the court-martial remains a subject of law and legal interpretation. We have had very senior lawyers in this country who have opined that that verdict cannot stand if subjected to the crucibles of an appeal. And the reason is simple. Under the section of the Nigerian Armed Forces Act, Section 51, subsection 1, you cannot have a conviction for what those people did, because there was no death. The insurrection or mutiny, as they called it, did not lead to death, and you couldn't possibly have a punishment that attract punishment beyond what the law provides. And from that standpoint alone, and as a lawyer, you will agree with me that there are already issues.
It's the CoreTV News on the hour. Take a break and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Thank you for being there. Governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party have resolved to back President Goodluck Jonathan for his second term in office. This is the outcome of several hours of deliberation in Abuja. Chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Godswill Akpabio, briefed journalists on the decision reached at the meeting. The Nigerian authorities insist that the country's entry points are now better manned to prevent the incursion of Ebola. President Goodluck Jonathan gave the assurance in a rare interview with State House correspondents. He also hailed Lagos and Rivers State's governments for cooperating with the federal authorities to contain the disease.
There's one thing that the whole country came together, worked together. There were no issues of politics, there were no issues of religion, there was no issues of ethnicity. And that is why we've been able to contain the Ebola. If the whole Nigeria did not agree and work, we wouldn't have succeeded. I must also use the opportunity to thank all the governors, because I met with all the governors and the various commissioners for health, and all the states set up machineries to manage the Ebola, if at all comes up. And I have to specifically appreciate the governor of Lagos State and the governor of Rivers State that we have incidents of Ebola, how they worked with the federal government to manage the situation. Presently, there is no Ebola case in Nigeria. Nobody in Nigeria has Ebola now. All the people that had the symptoms of Ebola have recovered. We lost, out of the 19, we lost 7. And the others have recovered. Yes, there are few people who are still observing. I'm not also saying that we may not record Ebola again, as long as Ebola is still in the West Coast. It is there in Guinea-Conakry, it is there in Liberia, it is there in Sierra Leone. The likelihood that a character like of the late Sawyer may come in through one way or the other is also open. But government is also very mindful of that. Presently, our airports are properly protected. If Sawyer were to arrive in Nigeria now, no Nigerian could have contacted Ebola because of the level of preparation.
In a related issue, Nigeria has been free of the Ebola virus disease in the last 1 week. Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu disclosed this after this week's Federal Executive Council meeting. He also gave an update on some of the suspected cases as well as the number of people under observation.
Nigeria has for 1 week now had no single case of Ebola virus disease. So presently, as we speak, there is nobody suffering from Ebola virus disease in Nigeria, and it has been so for the last 1 week. Within the week, however, there was a suspected case, a student from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, but we've concluded all investigations. She was Ebola negative. She's never had any Ebola virus disease. So Ile-Ife, there's no problem there. There's no incident of Ebola virus disease, and nobody is being placed under surveillance in Osun State. So Nigeria has monitored 517 persons, no problems after 21 days. This is total number that we've removed from our surveillance. Of these 517 contacts, 347 were under surveillance in Lagos State, while 164 were in Rivers State and 6 in Enugu. As you already know, there's no problem in Enugu State at all. Nobody there is under any kind of surveillance for Ebola virus disease.
The Senate wants the federal government to immortalize the late Amayo Adedevo for a role in stemming the tide of Ebola virus in the country. The lawmakers noted that if she had not personally restrained the late Liberian American, Patrick Sawyer, he would have ended up spreading the virus in the larger community. The Senate also hailed the leadership displayed by President Jonathan and Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola in containing the disease.
The deadly Ebola virus crept into Nigeria while the Senate was on recess. Now, within days of resumption, Senators are speaking in government's efforts to contain the disease that has killed over 2,000 people in West Africa in only 3 months. The motion was moved by Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, but enjoyed the backing of virtually all senators who signed up as co-sponsors. One after the other, they commended the roles played by the federal government and Lagos State in containing the disease.
As soon as this thing came up, the Lagos State government set up a committee that went around the miracle centers, the churches, to tell them, to plead with them, not to accept anybody in the name of performing miracle. If the Lagos government had not done that, and if the miracle centers did not take to this caution, probably today it would have been a very, very big disaster. So we really need to commend the Lagos State government for being so proactive.
With unity, we can fight and win any battle in this country, including battle against poverty and insurgency. Because of the leadership roles played by Mr. President and the Governor of Lagos and all officials connected with this fight against Ebola in our country.
And now that Nigeria has no new case of Ebola, at least one senator says the time is ripe to allocate funds for research.
1976, 38 years ago. So what happened between that time and the second one? It was not because something was found for the cure, but it went away just for it to come back in a more devastating manner. So for us to prevent future occurrence, we should start from now in allocating money for research in our various university teaching hospitals and other research agencies, so that by the time, we don't pray it comes again, but if it does, at least we will be battle ready to face the scourge.
After the speeches, Senate President David Mark summed up the views of the federal lawmakers by supporting the call for the government to honor the late Dr. Ameyo Adedevu and others who died saving Nigeria from Ebola.
I think we can't thank Dr. Adedevu enough, because she went out of her way beyond anybody's expectation to control Patrick Sawyer, who would have otherwise done havoc much beyond our imagination. And I think the nation would do well to honor her, and indeed other workers in the health industry who sacrifice their personal lives just to make sure that the rest of us are alive.
The Senate consequently urged the government to immortalize the late Dr. Adadevu, demanded better surveillance at all ports of entry. And before adjourning, senators honored all the health workers who died in the course of battling Ebola virus with a minute of silence.
May the soul of Dr. Adadevu and the souls of all those who lost their lives as a result of the Ebola virus disease rest in perfect peace.
The World Bank has approved a $105 million grant to help finance ongoing efforts to contain Ebola virus epidemic in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. A statement from the bank shows that Liberia will receive $52 million as the country with the highest number of infections, while 28 million goes to Sierra Leone and 25 million to Guinea. The grant, which is part of World Bank's $200 million Ebola Emergency Mobilization Initiative, is to be used to strengthen essential public healthcare systems in the 3 worst affected countries, as well as guard against future outbreak of the disease. According to the president of the World Bank Group, Jim Young Kim, the grant is an important part of a coordinated UN and WHO-led international response that will have a long-term development impact with the West African region. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund has disbursed 135 billion naira as intervention fund to all tertiary institutions in the country. A breakdown shows that each university is to get 912 million naira, while individual polytechnic is to receive 661 million naira. Minister of Education Ibrahim Shekarau disclosed this at a two-day TED Fund annual strategic planning workshop in Abuja.
The sum of 912 million in normal intervention. Don't ask me what about the abnormal one. If there is any, ask the chairman. I don't know about that. Each polytechnic is receiving the sum of 661 million, while each college of education is to receive the sum of 581 million. This, I'm sure you agree with me, is a very remarkable increase, and I enjoin the beneficiaries to effectively and transparently apply for the funds. It should be noted, therefore, that these interventions are a supplementary to normal annual budgetary provisions for each institution by the federal and state governments. I wish to stress that the TED Fund intervention must be properly prioritized and applied to projects that directly add value to teaching and learning and to postgraduate training for academic staff as well as to research and scholarly publications.
And outside Nigeria, Ukraine Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk says the country will screen 1 million civil servants for loyalty to the new government. The parliament passed a new law on Tuesday allowing the vetting of government officials and the removal of corrupt officials. Yatsenyuk says all departments who worked under previous president Viktor Yanukovych would be vetted. Ukraine has had months of unrest since Yanukovych was ousted in February. Government troops had been fighting pro-Russian separatists in the east for months until a truce was signed on 5th of September. Yatsenyuk made this declaration in a televised cabinet meeting, saying 1 million civil servants of different kinds will come under this law, including the whole cabinet of ministers, the Interior Ministry, the intelligence services, and the prosecutor's office. Correspondents say the issues of vetting and corruption are emotional subjects for many in Ukraine who want to cleanse the government of Mr. Yanukovych's influence. On Tuesday, MP Vitali, who belongs to a party described as pro-Russian, was thrown by angry crowds into a bin outside the parliament. Both sides in the Scottish referendum campaign have held rallies as they make their final efforts to win over undecided voters. Independent supporters attended a mass event in the centre of Glasgow where they were urged to vote yes for prosperous Scotland. At the same time, pro-UK campaigners gathered nearby to insist the case for independence had not been made. The latest polls have suggested the result is too close to call. Polls were released by Opinium for the Daily Telegraph, another by ICM for the Scotsman, and a third by Survation for the Daily Mail on Tuesday evening. With undecided voters excluded, they all suggested a lead for no of 52% to 48%. Meanwhile, Better Together head Alice Steer-Darling urged anyone who had doubts about independence to vote no. Addressing supporters alongside former Prime Minister Gordon Brown at a Love Scotland Vote No rally, he said, if you have such a momentous decision to take, you need to have certainty. On the final day of campaigning, First Minister Alex Salmond published a letter to the people of Scotland in which it told them they will hold power in their hands as they vote to determine their country's future. Salmond asked voters to step back from the political argument and statistics that have defined the two-year campaign and trust in themselves as they go into the polling booth. And that's all we have for you for this hour. Join us again at 11 for more. Thank you for watching. I am Ebulomo Adekunle.